Therefore, this would create a balancing approach to the population, where imbalance was caused in 1989 and 90. So if this peace and progress has to come back and return, therefore this imbalance has to be finished once for all, and balancing approach should be there. And this is imperative.
Thank you.
No, one point, last point, which I would like to make. Kindly excuse me for this taking extra time. There is a talk going on 2 points: emerging from valley, coming to this Jammu region, and from Jammu also some voice is raised that let there be a Jammu declaration as there was Gupkar declaration by the Gupkar. My fear is if perchance this thing happens or appears, having the slightest, I'm emphasizing on my word, having the slightest reflection on Gupkar and Gupkares, it would be a death knell for Jammu and Jammu. This should not happen at all. And no question, another question which is being raised by some so-called scholars, or they call themselves scholars, or politicians, that separate Jammu from the valley. No, not at all. It is Jammu Kashmir Union Territory, which has been constituted duly under the this mandate of the Constitution of India. So these are the things which would develop a constitutional culture, indestructible union of destructible federalism. This is the point which I would like to. Thank you very much for.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. A.M. Watali. Watali Saab.
Yes, sir.
Your
Sir,
4 minutes begin now.
Mr. Bhatia has given a very good analysis legally, but I have worked on a practical side. As you have said, what has happened after abrogation of Article 370, etc. We were expecting a big change. Big change in the sense that, first of all, I would have liked my Kashmiri brethren, Kashmiri Pandits, to have returned by now. So far, no step has been taken to bring them back to the valley or settle them in their own areas or wherever they have decided to settle them. No action has been taken. Number two, we were promised development in Jammu and Kashmir. Both Jammu and Kashmir, no development of the sort has happened so far. Number three, recently Rahul Sahai may be knowing that a scheme has been floated for industries here in Kashmir. It's a very good scheme. Experts say it is very good. But so far, nobody has shown interest in investing in Valley or even in Jammu. Thirdly, that protests are going in Jammu by the wine dealers. They apprehend that liquor mafia from other states will come and grab their business in Jammu. Another aspect is that youth in Jammu are on dharna for employment prospects because they see grim scenario so far. Because Kashmir, you are not allowed to hold any dharnas or anything, even for jobs or for anything. But at least Jammu has taken the lead. In short, I would say, I don't want to waste time. Nothing has happened till this date, except that the BJP has fulfilled their agenda, which was their election manifesto, that they will give citizenship to this domicile to one section or other section or other section. That is all what has happened, because they wanted to enhance their vote bank. And what is happening in Kashmir is that we are getting now mushroom political parties. This alliance on today, I am with one party, tomorrow you will find me in another party. It is happening because there's only one agenda, and it is stated by none other than the president of the BJP of the state that there will be a chief minister for Jammu. It is okay, we welcome it. But mechanism is being created for that, because they feel, BJP feels that they will sweep in Jammu province, and they require only 10, 15 seats in Valley. And that is why they are encouraging defections and this and that every day. That is all what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Bande, a lawyer from Valley. Mr. Bande, please.
Thank
Yes,
you
please.
very much for giving me the time on this platform. I hope all of you are listening me. I will not take much of your time, but as one of the panelists earlier said that I'll be focusing on this post-5th 2019 situation. I will not go into the details of Article 370 or on the abrogation of Article 35. But the thing is that post-August 2019, we see that there are many changes that we observe on ground, while as a few of them we see positive changes. That is, the Kashmiris feel that the politicians who were looting them from the last 70 years, they are now feeling suffocated in this new atmosphere, political atmosphere that's around us. And that's the only positive change Kashmiris are feeling at this moment, that we are getting rid of the old politicians. But now they are once again coming in the garb of new political parties that are emerging from the last more than a year now. And there's the only one positive change we see at this moment. But there are many negative changes, as Mr. Watali Saab earlier told us, that there are many negative changes we see on the ground. And one of the prominent changes we see is that there is the mushroom growth of the political parties. And this all is happening under the nose of the BJP. And I think this is a new agenda that's being implemented in the Kashmiri politics, and it's a new experiment. And we think that this is going to backfire in the long run. And that's one of the negative points, I think, at the moment is. And we see that there were many, at many instances, the BJP government at the center, they gave assurance to the Kashmiri people that after abrogation of Article 35A and 370, there will be unprecedented development in Kashmir. But we do not see any kind of development in Kashmir in terms of jobs, in terms of building new this infrastructure or bringing new industries into Kashmir. And there is everywhere we see there is chaos in terms of politics, there is chaos in terms of development, and we do not see any new employment generation in Kashmir, especially post 5th August 2019. And as one of the panelists earlier also said, that we see there is one constitution throughout the India, but I would like to mention here that still there are many things in India where India is not one. And we can see there is this Article 371 immediately following this Article 370, that is giving more privileges, that's giving more rights to some of the states within the Indian polity or within the Indian state. So all the panelists here, they must look into this angle as well. And the other things that were mentioned, that the return of the Kashmiri Pandits who were internally displaced during when the militancy erupted in Kashmir in 90s. So I would like to mention here that we all Kashmiris want our Kashmiri Pandits to come back to Kashmir Valley. But at the same time, we would like these Kashmiri Hindus that this should never be, like the comparison should never be made between the losses that were rendered to the Hindu population in Kashmir and the losses which were suffered by the Muslim brothers of the Kashmir. So in that sense, this comparison should never be made, especially in these platforms. And we should not show any aggression to each other, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings, and the religion, no religion should separate us from each other. And I think that humanity should be the only religion when we are dealing with each other. And there are many other changes we also see on the ground. as some of them I have already discussed here. And there are many more changes, but due to the shortage of time, I would like to give the time to other panelists here as well. And I would like to thank all of the participants, especially the Professor Saab who spoke who was the first panelist in this webinar program, and Vatali Saab. So I thank both of them, and I would like to learn a few more lessons from these learned panelists as well. Thank you very much for giving me the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bhante. May I now request Mr. Rahul Sahai, the prominent businessman from Jammu, to offer his comments. Mr. Rahul Sahai, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
You are.
You are
Yeah,
audible,
thank
but you are not.
At least I can see you well. I can hear you well also.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Now you
so
are
very,
visible, Rahul.
yeah. So very good afternoon to all the prominent personalities of J&K, including Mr. A.M. Vatali Sahab, K.L. Bhatia Sahab, Ashwini Kumar Chirangu Sahab, Manish Shankar Iyer Sahab, Kapil Kak Sahab, and all the eminent speakers. My gratitude towards Shri O.P. Shaw for inviting me. I'm Rahul Sahai. I'm chairman of PIG Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Jammu. So my views are, the state of Jammu and Kashmir became a UT on the 5th of August 2019. Since the reorganization of the state, common citizens looked towards the center expecting their lives would be altered. The removal of Article 370 in Jammu division is seeing a sea change in the cultural identity of Dogras. These people are asserting their linguistic identity, wherein Dogri had been forsaken by these people. Suddenly we find a surge, a cultural revival of Dogras. Apart from language, the beautification of Jammu is also to be seen. Urban beautification has taken place, but unfortunately, these are COVID times and we still haven't come out of this pandemic. So as such, no major change is visible as yet, though Jammuites are looking forward for significant changes in terms of medical facilities, like AIIMS to come up soon, government jobs for youth, because Jammu has seen the immigration of youth from Jammu to other places in search of work. This has brought about demographic change in the already fragile minorities community. Industrialization is on cards, but still waiting for action on ground. Like what Ali Saab said, lot of commitments were made, but still action on ground is awaited. However, people are also suffering from insecurities of people coming from other states and flooding the aboriginals of the states, taking away depriving the local people of their jobs, businesses, and land. Like what Ali Saab mentioned about wine traders. So people have fears regarding all those things. This is making them uneasy, and they also fear that crime will increase in Jammu and Kashmir. However, it is still too early to see the pros and cons of the reorganization of the state, because there are COVID times, we all know. My duty as a responsible citizen is to highlight the fears and joys of citizens on this forum, and hence I've put forth my views. So no prominent changes as yet, but still looking forward for real change which benefits our local people. So these are my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rahul Sahai Saab. May I now request Kapil Kak Saab to offer his comments. Kapil Kak Saab.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Very much.
Okay.
Saab.
Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure to listen to Professor Bhatia Saab, of course, Vatali Saab, Abdul Majid Bande Saab, and just now Rahul Sahai. They brought a lot of points on our discussion table. I think this is what the civil society interactions are all about. But I would like to bring for your consideration to everybody a report just 9 days ago. A group of us who visited Kashmir, who visited South Kashmir, interacted with approximately 400 to 500 people across the cross-section. Businessmen, academia, common citizens, political leaders, everybody. And that in a way will perhaps serve as a good feed-in to the points which were made earlier on what the changes have been from 5th of August. And it's like the Christian era starting in J&K. Whatever was there before 5th of August is irrelevant. I'm sorry, I'm not in agreement with that, because that resonates still in the valley, as these reports will indicate. They're in the public domain. As another group of which I am a part, which looks at human rights at the grassroots level, did a report last year, just after 5th August actions, then did another one on 1st of January this year. And then, of course, we, as I said just 9 days ago, we put forward the idea. Now, first, I will rush through in the next 3-4 minutes, and I'll just make the points. I don't have to explain. Everybody in this gathering knows my views. Firstly, normalcy in Kashmir. Yes, the optics suggest that there is an element of normalcy. To that extent, I do agree with Professor Bhatia, but I do not agree with the point that peace and progress has come in. Let me explain why I don't. And this is not my view. This is the view of the cross section on the ground. It may be useful for Professor Bhatia, as an elder brother, I would suggest to him to make a few trips to Kashmir. I will arrange his trips. Let him visit South Kashmir. Let him talk to panchayats. Let him talk to district council. And then you get a fairly more objective idea of what Kashmir is, rather than what we do sitting elsewhere. May I suggest to this group that there is no space for dissent. Any criticism of government policies, whether it's on social media, it's on print, it's on electronic media, is hugely suspected, and anyone who expresses is questioned by the police, and appropriate actions are taken, which apparently are not appropriate. So, in other words, journalism in the valley, as far as my witness goes, is criminalized, because journalism has to be open, free, dissentful, and critical of the policies of an incumbent government. I do not see any political plan. After all, we are all Democrats. We are sworn to democracy. Let democracy throw the leaders who will express opinions and convert that into policy. Because if democracy can be applied in India and throws up a government with a majority, I respect that. All of us must respect the judgment that India has exercised. Why can't the same apply in Kashmir? If we can have panchayat elections, if we can have district development council elections, why is there a need to do delimitation and therefore delay the process? Why is the normal democracy denied to the Jammu and Kashmir state? I also want to say, and this is something which would be of interest to the group, if you go through the report, it'll come in very, very clearly. The PAGD is not a non-entity. The PAGD represents the mainstream opinion in Kashmir. And again, I will go to the democratic pathway and draw your attention to that pathway. The PAGD swept the polls in the Kashmir Valley. The PAGD, rather interesting, this would interest Professor Gupta also, got 35 seats in the Jammu region. And therefore, to say that 370 is irrelevant, 35A is irrelevant, whatever happened after 5th August is the only thing which is relevant. One flag and one constitution may apply in some situations to one individual. But democracy is not giving us that impulse. Otherwise, PAGD would not have won 35 seats in Jammu. On the contrary, the BJP won only 3 out of 140 seats in the valley, despite all the efforts that have been made, and it was addressed in very great detail. I want to know, for example, our group comprising, and these are we have held positions in the government. We can't be termed anti-nationals. I've fought in 2 wars. I've done 40 years in uniform. Wajahat Habibullah has held a constitutional position, one, and then, of course, also as the first RTI person who actually did the RTI Act, drafted it. We had Sushoa Barve, who is in peace building in Kashmir for the last 25 years. Bharat Bhushan, who is a former editor of Mail Today. So we would have applied our minds before we produce that report. May I say, for example, normalcy, we went to Mirwais Umar Farooq's house and knocked at the door. We want to see him. We were there for half an hour. And the cops there went through all the multiple channels. You know how police bureaucracy works. Watali Saab would bear with me much more than anyone else. So the constable went to the sub-inspector, inspector, SP, DIG, IGP, DGP, and I don't know whichever other level, maybe they contacted even the Home Minister, but we were not allowed inside. So, I mean, we were told he's free. So if he's free, why can't I meet him? So
Please
I think I've
continue.
drawn my point. Last two points, which are very, very important. Youth are boiling. Whether we like to accept it or not, there is lava which is inside. Yes, they are not protesting. They're not coming out with stones. They're not coming out with guns as much as they could, given that there is anger, alienation, and hatred. But yes, we need to keep that in mind because there is definitely a feeling in the valley that we will go along. We will not protest. We will be wise. We will not throw stones. But we do have hope that Indian democracy will address our concerns, our anxieties, and our aspirations in the manner most appropriate in a democracy. Otherwise, we will, as the Kashmiris tell us, that we will see more of the past in terms of violence, which is neither good for Kashmiris, nor for Jammuites, nor for the whole state, nor for that matter for the country. I think if we look at it more democratically, more sensitively, more holistically in terms of engaging communities which are alienated. I would do that the same way in Jammu. If there are alienated communities, I would do the same as a peace builder. Unfortunately, that has not happened. And in these COVID times, it would be a while before we can look forward to genuine peace and progress in Kashmir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kapil Saab. Is Muzaffar Shah here in the meeting? Mr. Muzaffar Shah?
Mr. Shah, just a little intervention. I'm Virender Rana, but I'm speaking on a different phone. My name appears as Sunit Paul, so I thought I'll just tell you about that. Thank you.
Okay, you have come. Thank you. Welcome. Is Mr. Sheikh Ashik, is he around? Mr. Sheikh Ashik? Not as yet. Mr. Raina, please offer
Yes.
your comments in 4 minutes, please.
Sir. Well, I respect whatever has been said by earlier speakers, and thank you very much, Mr. Shah, for inviting me. But I'm here to speak what Kashmiri Pandits have really gone through, and it's not. I can speak good and speak. But that has not been the experience of my experience of or my community's experience post 1990. And to tell you very frankly, Article 370, when it was incorporated, it was a huge political disaster ab initio. It was a legal aberration and something that was basically ultra vires to the basic tenets of the Constitution. It was a constitutional impropriety. I don't know how it had come about. It created two systems of governance on the body politic of India and created a supra-constitutional entity. It was basically unconstitutional as it violated the basic structure of the Constitution of equality and also violated the preamble that talks of fraternity, thereby creating a fertile ground for secessionism and fissiparous tendencies to fructify. Kashmiris generally cannot be blamed because they were given this Article 370 which gave them a feeling that there was something different from the rest of the India. It was Article 370 that was responsible for the violation of the rights of the legal rights. I'm not talking about only of the political right, but the legal rights of Valmiki Samaj, of West Pakistan refugees, of girls who are married outside state of Jammu and Kashmir to non-state subjects at that point of time. And the rest of 130 crore citizens of India had no rights on the territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So the article, the exodus and genocide of Kashmiri Pandits also is a result of this article, because it provided space and justification for Pakistan to meddle in the affairs of Jammu and Kashmir and create a lobby of overground workers that always professed and practiced anti-nationalism. Abrogation of Article 370 removed only the constitutional and legal framework from the statute books. But insofar as its roots are concerned, they still continue to exist in the administration, in the polity, and they also need to be completely cut so that the complete benefits of abrogation of Article 370 can percolate to various sections of society. Very justifiably, my other respectable panelists have said that they have not seen something, the effects of the abrogation of Article 370 on the ground. Yes, it's just 1 year that, let us say, when Article 370 was incorporated in 1950s, and for the last 70 years, what are the benefits of Article 370 that have, accrued to the state? And within 1 year, we are saying that abrogation, we have not seen anything on the ground. It's not a magic wand, but it has removed the edifice of anti-nationalism. It has removed the edifice of supranationalism. It has removed the edifice of Pakistan meddling. Now, at the most, Pakistan is saying that we will have talks with India, provided Article 370 is restored. Now it is not about. It's not about the article removal of Article 370 has moved that completely. That now Pakistan is fighting for restoration of Article 370. It is saying that we'll have talks with India if Article 370 is restored. See, Article 370 was a huge event in the history of Jammu and Kashmir, and its benefits will percolate over a period of time. And its ultimate litmus test would be when Kashmiri Pandits would be able to return to their homeland in Kashmir, and with honor and dignity, and with the restoration of their constitutional, legal, political rights. And some of my panelists who just now said that when other elections could be held, why the assembly elections couldn't be held? You see, insofar as this delimitation is concerned, it is based on a flawed, sense. There are a lot of aberrations insofar as the carving out of Kashmir Pandit constituencies are concerned. As we know, there's no time to go into that detail, but I briefly add that Kashmiri Pandit constituencies in Kashmir and wherever Kashmiri Pandits had majority, those constituencies were truncated in a manner that Kashmiri Pandits could never send their representatives to assembly. So those aberrations and those have to be corrected, and delimitation is a process which will correct those aberrations. Hopefully so. We have approached the Delimitation Commission that Kashmiri Pandit constituencies should be recarved so as to allow Kashmiri Pandits to send their representatives to the assembly so that we can have our full rights restored. So thank you very much for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We have a friend from Baramulla. I saw him in the beginning. Please offer your comments.
आदाब सभी जो इसमें पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उन सबको मेरा सलाम, खासकर शाह साहब को जिन्होंने मुझे इसमें बोलने की दावत दी है। देखिए, जब 370 और 35A अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली एब्रोगेट किया गया, तो उस वक्त ये कहा गया था कि यहाँ पे डेवलपमेंट होगा, रोजगार मिलेगा जो यूथ्स हैं, और जो पंडित बरादरी है यहाँ की, उनको वापस अपने अपने घरों में लाया जाएगा इज्जत के साथ। लेकिन उस सब चीजों में मैं उस पीछे वाले कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अब नहीं जाऊंगा, क्योंकि टाइम उतना नहीं है, मुझे हुक्म मिला है 4-5 मिनट का। लेकिन उस सब में ये नाकाम हुए ना, यहाँ पे उस तरह का डेवलपमेंट हुआ जिस जैसे कि उम्मीद थी यहाँ के लोगों को, यहाँ के नागरिकों को, ऐसा नहीं हुआ है। और ना ही उस तरह से यहाँ की यूथ को रोजगार मिला है, वो भी नहीं हुआ है। अलबत्ता जो पंडित बरादरी का उन्होंने बोला था कि हमें बहुत खुशी होगी कि अगर वो अपने घरों को वापस आ जाएं, बाइज्जत तरीके से यहाँ पे रहें, इज्जत से आ जाएं, इज्जत से रहें, क्योंकि वो भी इस समाज का हिस्सा है, वो भी इस धरती के उतने ही हकदार हैं जितने कि यहाँ के मुसलमान हैं, सिख हैं और बाकी लोग जो हैं। डेवलपमेंट के हवाले से तो हमारा आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अगर आप देखें तो हर जगह बिखरा हुआ है, कहीं पे डेवलपमेंट की वो नहीं है जितने की यहाँ पे उम्मीद लगाई जा रही थी कि अगर एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अब बना, एक झंडा है तो सबको ये हुकूक मिलेंगे, लेकिन ऐसा अभी दिख नहीं रहा है। आइंदा पता नहीं क्या होगा, तो लेकिन अभी तो दिख नहीं रहा है डेवलपमेंट की। यहाँ पे कोई ऐसी ना यहाँ पे कोई ऐसी इंडस्ट्री खोली जाती है, ना यूथ के हवाले से कुछ किया जाता है, ना रोजगार के हवाले से अभी उतना नहीं हुआ है जितने की यहाँ के लोग उम्मीद लगाए बैठे थे। और जो अहम मुद्दा है वो जहाँ ये जो पंडित बरादरी का है, तो अभी वो भी यहाँ पे वापस नहीं आए हैं। ऐसे एफर्ट्स भी शायद अभी नहीं हो रहे हैं कि वो अपने घरों को बाइज्जत तरीके से लौटें, बाइज्जत तरीके से अपने घरों में आ जाएं। हाँ, एक चीज में तो ये कामयाब हुए हैं कि उन्होंने यहाँ पे ये इलेक्शंस करा दिए, पंचायत इलेक्शंस करा दिए और डीडीसी के इलेक्शंस करा दिए। यहाँ पे मुंतखबा उम्मीदवार, उसमें लोगों ने हिस्सा लिया। मैं ईमानदारी से बोलूंगा, लोगों ने वोट दिया, लोगों ने हिस्सा लिया, इसमें कोई ये झूठ की बात नहीं है, इसमें बिल्कुल ये सच्चाई है। अलबत्ता कुछ इंसिडेंट्स को छोड़ के कहीं कहीं तो इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं वायलेंस के, लेकिन उसमें तो ये कामयाब हुए हैं यहाँ पे जो पंचायत के इलेक्शंस हुए और जो डीडीसी के इंतखाबात हुए। बाकी जो उन्होंने जो नारे उस वक्त दिए थे कि ये करेंगे वो करेंगे, जो वादे किए थे, तो उसमें अभी कोई कुछ नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है अभी। ऐसा ही है जैसे कि पहले था।
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद। अश्विनी कुमार जी।
Namaskar, everyone
नमस्कार,
here,
please.
all my friends, my seniors. We have been in this process over the last more than 2 years now. May I add one thing that I have been going to Kashmir for the last more than 3 years every month. So whatever I am saying here is based on my experiences of my visit to Kashmir, my monthly visits to Kashmir, then going from one district to another. In every tour program, I visit at least 3 to 4 districts in Kashmir. So whatever I am saying, it is less my intelligence, more my experience of the ground reality in Kashmir. And then I would need to add one thing. While describing things about Jammu and Kashmir, we have to take care of the fact that Kashmir Valley is 16,000 square kilometers, while Jammu province is 26,000 square kilometers. It would not be justifiable if on every occasion we just think about Kashmir and leave out talking about Jammu. I have not found any kind of serious, some kind of a representation of people opposing what happened on or after 5th, 6th August 2019 in the Jammu province. Yes, there were extreme discontent seen and observed in the Kashmir Valley. But stones were not thrown. I am very sorry to say, when someone among us was talking about that stones were not thrown, I thought that he was telling that those were not stones, those were flowers. He was narrating stones, particularly in context that people have reconciled to the situation in the sense that they are not going to oppose the government's move, and they would like to go with what government has done. That is what is known as successful politics. In politics and successful politics, you have to take the people along with you. If over the last 2 years, the people have reconciled to a situation, to a level where they say that we will go with the wind, that means time has changed. And actually, time has made people to change their mindset. But yes, I consider the people who are having a mindset of the last, say, 70 years, it will need them to take some more time to get reconciled. Because whatever has happened, it was not in the dreams, in the wildest dreams of anyone. I'm sure about one thing, and that is that not only the elections for the assembly will be taking place, but I am also sure about one thing. After the delimitation process is over, there will be a democratically elected government in Jammu and Kashmir, and there would be proper representation of the people in that. I assure you that this is going to happen, and this is going to happen this year. When the report of the Delimitation Commission will come, I was invited by the Delimitation Commission. I put my point of view there. I am more happy today, especially about that almost all panelists here, very good people on the panel, they are all talking about Kashmiri Pandits and their resettlement in Kashmir. I am extremely happy that my friends from Kashmir or outside Kashmir, they are talking about Kashmiri Pandits in a way, in a sense, that Kashmiri Pandits are part of Kashmir. This would not happen earlier. People would not refer to Kashmiri Pandits, their displacement and their resettlement. If this is a kind of a discussion going on in the civil society about Kashmiri Pandits, it is definitely another change. The first is going with the what has been done on and after August 5-6, 2019, then talking about the Kashmiri Pandits, and simultaneously expressing our point of view regarding the democratically elected government in Jammu and Kashmir. I agree with that. And there is another issue that needs attention, not only attention, but it also needs implementation. That is elimination of terrorism from the whole territory of Jammu and Kashmir state. Unless that happens, it is not possible. Peace will be there and progress will follow. So, in the end, in order to conclude, I would settle for two things at this point of time. The first thing I would settle for at this point of time, that delimitation is done as soon as possible. And second thing for which I would go is that there are very tough times at this time, because there are both the things. Number one, the COVID situation, and then the economic lockdowns, etc., etc. I would ask Government of India more to take care about the economic issues relating to Jammu and Kashmir, at least taking care of those who are not in a position during these tough times to feed themselves and fend themselves. I hope good things will be coming out of this discussion, and we will see one day Kashmiri Pandits also getting settled and resettled in their homeland in Kashmir. That is sure to happen, but it may take some time, and it will happen. Thank you very much. So kind of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Khajuria Saab, before I invite Manish Shankar here Saab to offer his comments, let's have two more speakers. Mr. I.D. Khajuria.
Thank you, Shah Saab. Thank you. Being a peace activist, I uphold the politics of peace. And I also believe that politics is worse than the laws of land. Politics determine the future of society. No doubt, some people have come here and said that there is some smoothness, but I doubt. Until there is a line of control, there is cars and jeeps of UNO, and there is three dimensions of Jammu Kashmir problem. That is regional, national, and international. And we are facing now that internationally Quad, SPAC, and Singhai cooperation, they are also doing and predicting the future of Jammu and Kashmir and giving remarks from USA regarding our national setup. What we have done for the last 7 years, particularly last 2 years or 3 years. There is a need of the politics of regionally. I believe that politics of peace and interdependence can be the way out with the behavioral attitude among all identities, regional ethnicities, languages, be tolerant and interdependent. Otherwise, we will see, Shah Saab, the slogans as you have seen in Calcutta. Last 2 months, we will see these slogans in coming elections in Jammu and Kashmir. There is a Jammu and Kashmir nationally boat game. Whenever the boat came, come in India, the Jammu Kashmir will be the hot seat for each and every political agent of national active politics or the international politics or the regional politics. I believe that there is no any progress since 5 August since 19. We have lost our tourism. Our transport is on strike 2 days. 2 days for the last 3 days, our transport is on strike. Buses, taxis, as well as minibuses. They have lost a huge amount for the last 2 years. They have the taxis of 1,200 are standard. No tourism taxis, no tourism in Kashmir, no tourism in Jammu. All are idle and they have got snatched their powers. They cannot represent as a public to any authorities. My one friend has said that Jammu remained calm for the last 2 years. I doubt. There is no permission to us to get together for more than 100 or more 200. There is no permission to protest for the water, for the food, or for other necessities to get the Jammu Kashmir people. Therefore, Jammu and Kashmir is going far than far too far for the last 2 years. Our government have taken the policies that Secretariat will move from Jammu to Srinagar or Srinagar to Jammu. Our meeting point is going to be snatched from the 2 regions We cannot hold meetings with the Jammu regions. Jammu regions, Kashmir regions cannot hold the meetings in Jammu. Any public meeting lasts the 2 years. How we can say that normalcy will have us and peace and progress will come together? No. Whenever our Indian people, our Indian friends will not help us that Jammu Kashmir is, if they agree that Jammu Kashmir is a part of India, then why not they firing border disturbance in India from Lakhanpur to Gujarat? They are living in peace. They are doing trade. What we cannot associate with the border people even. They will doubt us with, if we will visit to our relatives at the border side, they will ask why you have come here. And if they will not ask to us, they will ask to the resident of borders why these people have come to this border. How we can feel in 70 years we have seen such steps. Sheikh Abdullah arrested, our Prime Minister last, our Sadr Riyas last, our other High Court Election Commission last, but people reconciled sometimes. What is the problem is there? The issue is there. The grievances are there. They can be past time for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Please
But
conclude.
after 10 years, they will also resist. They will again resist. Our people will resist for the resolution of peaceful Jammu Kashmir problem. Until unless I request to the all friends, the permanent peace and progress can be with the peace on the borders and peace in the internal areas, and hatred, communal hatred should be shut up and ended immediately between Jammu and Kashmir and between religion identities or ethnic identities or linguistic identities. This is my belief that peace is not peace is a politics, and India, the present government of corporate and its compliant state is holding politics of confrontation and communal hatred, which cannot be bring peace in any way. I hope you will help us with to uphold the processes and politics and path of the peace, that so that we are able to get equity with the Indian people who have already their powers. Our other states have different special states.
Please
Goa
conclude. Please conclude.
Goa has 2 citizens, Portugali and Indian. Pondicherry has 2 citizens. There is 71 A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Why they hate us? Why they counter us? They conquered Jammu Kashmir with the majority power of parliament, and they put us in the trouble for years and years. Dhanyawad, shukriya, bahut bahut.
Thank you. Mr. Mahaldi. Mr. Mahaldi.
So it is Maldar or Maldi?
Yeah, please, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shah Sahab. Good afternoon, everybody. मुझे जस्ट अपने जो हमारे यहाँ पर सीनियर हैं उनसे कुछ कहना है, स्पेशली जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी से या हमारे कश्मीरी पंडित कौम से हैं स्पेशली। जब वो श्रीनगर में जाते हैं, जैसे इन्होंने अभी कहा कि हम कश्मीर में जाते हैं और हम वहाँ पर रिकंसिलिएशन की बात हो रही है, पीस की बात हो रही है, मैं एक बात इनसे कहना चाहता हूँ, स्पेशली अपने भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो लीडर हैं और मेरे बड़े भाई भी हैं, कश्मीर में जाके ये आवाम से ये क्यों नहीं कहते हैं, सरकार से ये क्यों नहीं कहते हैं कि जितने मैसेकर हुए हैं 1990 से लेके आज तक, उसके ऊपर इंक्वायरी की जाए, इंक्लूडिंग कश्मीरी पंडित एक्सोडस। या खाली कश्मीरी पंडित एक्सोडस की बात क्यों करते हैं? अगर कश्मीर हमारा है, उसमें जो भी लोग रह रहे हैं वो हमारे सारे भाई हैं। वहां पर ये सरकार से क्यों नहीं मांग करते हैं कि जितने भी मैसेकर हुए हैं जम्मू कश्मीर में, उसके ऊपर इंक्वायरी लगनी चाहिए, इंक्लूडिंग कश्मीरी पंडित एक्सोडस। ये why they are only isolating only the Kashmiri Pandits? हाँ ठीक है, कश्मीरी पंडित का कौम से मैं भी हूँ, बट जो लोग वहां पर मेरे कश्मीरी पंडित भाई भी तो रह रहे हैं 1990 से वहां पर 808 फैमिलीज, आज की डेट में वो 8000 हो गए, 10,000 हो गए, वो भी तो हमारे कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ तड़प रहे हैं, जूझ रहे हैं। ये सबके लिए इंक्लूड क्यों नहीं बात करते? खाली पर्टिकुलर रीजन, पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल्स के लिए क्यों बात करते हैं? सेकंड, ये बात करते हैं आत्मनिर्भर की। आप ये बताइए, जेके सीमेंट्स के एम्प्लॉइज घर से बेरोजगार हो गए, उनके पास तनख्वाह देने के लिए पैसे नहीं है। हाल फिलहाल में अभी 500 करोड़ रुपया जेकेएसआरटीसी को दिया गया, उन एम्प्लॉइज के पास तनख्वाह नहीं है। अभी मेरी खुद मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर जेकेएसआरटीसी के लोगों से वो कहते हैं सर हमारे को 4-4 महीने के बाद तनख्वाह नहीं मिलती है। लोगों के पास पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट के लिए गाड़ी नहीं है। कौन सा आत्मनिर्भर हो रहा है? कहां पर आत्मनिर्भर हो रहा है? यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉइज पैकेज की बात हुई थी, श्री मनमोहन सिंह ने कश्मीरी पंडित्स के लिए पीएम पैकेज की बात कही थी, आज तक तो वही भी कंप्लीट कर पा रहे हैं। हम किस चीज की रिकंसिलेशन की बात कर रहे हैं? हम कौन से पीस की बात कर रहे हैं? प्लीज आप कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ और जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ आप जो है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ रिलीजन और इन चीजों को छोड़ के एक ह्यूमैनिटेरियन ग्राउंड्स पे बात करिए। हमारे कश्मीर के लोग, हमारे जम्मू के बॉर्डर के लोग तड़प रहे हैं, मर रहे हैं। प्लीज लेट्स नॉट प्ले द पॉलिटिक्स। अगर आपको वाकई में इंक्लूसिवनेस दिखानी है, आप करेज दिखाइए, लाल चौक में खड़े होकर बोलिए, सरकार से मांग कीजिए, भूख हड़ताल पर ये पहला आदमी आपके साथ रहूंगा, ये कहिए कि 1990 से लेके आज तक जितने मैसेकर हुए उसके ऊपर एसआईटी कमेटी लगाइए। धन्यवाद। थैंक यू सियासत।
धन्यवाद, थैंक यू वेरी मच। Vivek Kaul and then Mr. Manishankar Ayyar. Vivek Kaul is from Calcutta. Vivek Kaul,
thank
are
you.
There?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate this
3
opportunity.
minutes, 180 seconds, please.
The first challenge I think we have is that we are expecting a veneer of normalcy when actually there were very adverse conditions that prompted the entire upheaval in J&K, which culminated in 89-90. It didn't happen then. It was a slow process and it happened for more than 100 years after the Martyrs' Day agitation. I do not want to get too much into history, but the fact is that there should be an inquiry by all human rights activists, including Kapil Kak Sahab and so many others, when 300 plus Kashmiri Pandits were killed, murdered, some of them were raped. Is the human rights inquiry into those specific. Nobody should lose their human rights. Nobody should lose their life if they are staying peacefully. The second point I would like to make is that we have to treat the entire problem as one which needs a holistic solution. I often find that there is a toad in the well attitude. That means nothing has happened to us. We have not got development here. My question to all those who are questioning the aspect of non-development is, what have you specifically done to engage in the process of development? What little industry have you created? In 2011, I had gone to JKEDI Pampur, which was bombed twice by militants, to offer a course on entrepreneurship, a subject in which I research in. And there was a young girl then who was just a little, she's been given employment about 70, 75 young people. Women. Now that is what I call being the change. She recently gave birth to a baby. I want people like them. I don't see many women on this panel, which I think is a glaring inadequacy, because they constitute 50% of our population and they are completely absent in our deliberations. I can see one name popping up here and there. And finally, I would say that there are so many wrong things that have happened. Temples have been destroyed. Not 1 rupee income tax was paid in 1990. Kashmiris do not, as a rule, want to live on khairat. Unfortunately, Indian government has fed them on khairat for the last 70 plus years. Not what a self-respecting Kashmiri wants to do. There are many other issues I want to talk about. One of them is that minorities in Kashmir was the oddity about Kashmir was Muslims were treated as a minority entitled to financial benefits and concessional rates of interest, but Hindus were not. They were entitled to, under the JK Minority Finance Development Corporation, they were getting 6% interest when the going rate was 15% at that time. But specifically, Hindus were excluded. In the entire process till the 2019, the entire Ladakh was completely deprived. Granted that they are a separate union territory now, we don't have to think about them. But purely on humanitarian concerns, we should have given an equitable treatment to all. Finally, I think the issue of communalism has not been addressed. We should not expect development if there is a communal virus in our cities, in our mohalla, in our families. We have to treat somebody who is with the stone as somebody who has to be put down in the interest of the peace of other people. I'm sorry if it offends such people, but I'm afraid violence cannot be of any kind of protest. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manishankar Iyer, please.
I'd be happy to participate, but I see that one Brigadier Vijay Sagar Dheman has been asking you for the floor. Can you give him a few minutes?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So kind.
Thank you very much, Manishankar ji. Brigadier Saab, please come and
Yes,
speak for
Brigadier
a couple of...
Brigadier Saab ko chance.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. I'm really grateful. And thank you, Venerable Manishankar sir. I'm really honored and grateful that you've come in and said so. I joined this particular forum almost at 30 minutes notice, courtesy my elders, Professor Bhatia. So not that I was prepared to come here, but that I just want to speak just for 2 minutes. Firstly, I retired from the army as a brigadier, the additional director general of NCC. Then I was a vice chancellor of a university, and now I'm a faculty in NSS department of Central University of Jammu. So with that, I would address Mr. A.M. Vatali. Sir, as far as knowledge, experience, intellect, etc. goes, I may be even less than your son. But I only would make a humble point to you. You very rightly pointed out everything, that this has not been done, that has not been done, that has not been done. Well, for the first time, I'm not a BJP bhakt by any chance. I'm not a political person. I'm not a religious bigot, anything. I'm a pure academician. I'm saying that in the life of a nation or in the life of a state, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, a very, very small time for a change. That is number one. Secondly, sir, my submission to you is the kind of administration we're having, we've changed our governor twice. We've kind of IAS bureaucracy that we have. Please do not expect these changes to just come as a flash on Aladdin ka chirag. So maybe if you can understand and maybe agree with me, I would be very happy. Second point, sir, Air Vice Marshal Kapil Kant, sir, I hope you are here. I was your student in Defense Services Staff College, Wellington. I did the DSS 50 with you, and I was the winner of the Lenton Medal, and my dissertation was on J&K. Though after that, I've done 2 more PhDs on J&K, that is a different issue. But sir, I was with you at that time to hear. You pointedly asked, why delimitation? I'm sure your knowledge, experience about J&K is far, far, far ahead of me. And I was your student at one point in time, 25 years back. So still I would, sir, request you, sir, kindly go through the statistics of Jammu and Kashmir area, population, etc. at the time of at least 1947, if not before. And you will realize that whatever was done at that time, delimitation was done by the Constituent Assembly, which had only 4 party members. There was no second party in that Constituent Assembly, and they did what they did. I don't want to get into the details. So maybe at this time, if we started the census of 21, and if it is done properly, because that's a subject by itself, and I can speak on that, but since I promised Mr. Shah that I'll not take long time. So if that comes through, sir, there will be a change. Like when I say Jammu, I'm not saying Hindus only, sir. I've got my friends across the border in PHJK, in Gilgit-Baltistan, in exile in UK, Canada, and they call themselves Dogra Mumtaz Raz. Dogra Javed Akhtar, that is how they name themselves. So they all Dogras from Jammu, sir. So if you get into all that, and with all those people who have been added after 5th August, who were not given the rights to vote for the Legislative Assembly or J&K. And if you see, I'm sure things would be different. And maybe we have a chief minister from Jammu, maybe. I mean, I've got nothing against it, whether it's Hindu or Muslim or anybody else. So that was my humble point to you, sir. And sir, one last point for Mr. Syed Abid Bukhari. Sir, you used the word unconstitutional abrogation of 370. Sir, I have a bit of a reservation if I may submit for your consideration, sir. Sir, as far as constitution is concerned, the Professor Bhatia is the law expert here. Article 370 has not been abrogated, sir. It still is part of Indian Constitution. It has only been deoperationalized. It has ceased to function the way it was functioning earlier. Now, the same thing has been used purely from the constitutional point of view by the government of India to put all the laws back into J&K. Now, I have two contentions over here. One is that as far as the legality is concerned, there's only one point of propriety which can be questioned. Otherwise, there's nothing else. And secondly, God forbid, some other government comes, if they want to undo the whole thing, though it is an unrealistic scenario, I do agree. But technically speaking, sir, it is possible. So those are my submissions. If anybody has any resentments, I'm sorry. And once again, I thank all of you to please, you to have listened to me with patience. Thank you, Mr. Shah. And thank you, Sir Manishankar Iyer, sir. It was a great honor, you taking my name, and I'm really grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. Manishankar ji, please.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity of replying to this debate, as it were. Although I'm not the minister for Jammu and Kashmir, my one unfulfilled goal in life. The reason why I'm so interested in Kashmir is that I think it is the litmus test of the basis on which our nationhood is constituted, which is secularism. But I see on this program a complete divide, except for Ishwar Khajuria, between those who spoke from Jammu and those who spoke from Kashmir. And very unfortunately, that regional divide is reinforced by the fact that it is also a religious divide. I've noted that Ashwini ji goes every month to Kashmir and visits 3 or 4 districts every time he goes there. But I also see that he's alive. If Ashwini ji can go into Kashmir again and again and again and come out alive again and again and again, then I think the most important takeaway from this panel or this meeting is that every single Kashmiri Muslim who spoke said that it is the right of the Kashmiri Pandit to come back and live here. Now that they have read down Article 370 and read down and abolished Article 335A, I think it is for the Kashmiri Pandits to take the initiative in returning to the valley. I have certainly read Jagmohan ji's book on his days in Kashmir. And in that book, he says that in a report to the amnesty, he had said that until the 8th of March, which was almost the last day of the KP presence in Kashmir, there had been 138 killings, of which he said in horror, there were 75 KPs who were killed. But simple mathematics shows you that if 138 were killed, of which 75 were Hindus, then 63 were Muslims. So if the massacre was taking place of everyone who wanted to remain in India, then surely it is wrong to look upon the events of the last 30 years in Kashmir only through a religious lens. I don't think that will get us anywhere. And I want to come back to what I had been saying last time to an audience that was largely Kashmiri, whereas today I have an audience that's largely from Jammu. I come from a secessionist state. Until 1962, the Dravidian movement in Tamil Nadu insisted on being separate from the Union of India. Today, it is ruled and has been ruled for the past 60 years by the Dravidians, even if the Dravidians are somewhat divided among themselves. But there is no separatism. Why is that? It is because nobody challenged the right of Periyar or the right of Annadurai or the right of Kalaignar to demand secession. They were regarded as persons with whom we should engage. Nehruji engaged with them, although they have sworn to divide our country. And the result is that ever since 1962, Tamil Nadu has been in its heart an integral part of India. You cannot compel either Kashmiris or Jammuites to become Indians. They will do so of their own volition. And it is utterly remarkable and must not be forgotten that where Jinnah failed in getting Sheikh Abdullah to bring Kashmir into Pakistan, Nehru succeeded in bringing Kashmir, that is the old Riyasat, completely into India. And then there was a follow-up to the 1947 terms of agreement, and that was the Delhi Agreement of 1952. It was translated into a separate constitution for Jammu and Kashmir, over which the Indian constitution prevailed. It was only to the extent that the Indian constitution, through Article 370, permitted Jammu Kashmir to have a subsidiary constitution of their own, that arrangement lasted until Mr. Modi undid it in August 2019. And during that period, there was a very large degree of freedom granted to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, even if democracy was relatively flawed in J&K compared to the rest of the country. But if that had not happened, would the revolt of Farooq Abdullah in the early 80s have taken place? How is it that there were frequent changes of government after 1985? The fact is that the only persons who have not benefited from democracy in Kashmir are the Hurriyat, which refuses to participate, and those who repeatedly use language which goes against the emotional integration of Kashmir. As Mr. Chidambaram remarked a few months ago, and I hold him to it, you cannot desire the territory of Kashmir without desiring the people of Kashmir. And how can you desire the people of Kashmir when without consulting them, you undertake such a major constitutional change? Yes, I know that there have been voices in Jammu that have long been demanding the standing down of Article 370. But equally, there has been a very strong demand in Kashmir from the people of Kashmir, including many Kashmiri Pandits at that stage, who said, no, we do have a different history, we have a different demography, and therefore we need a separate provision. Mr. Bhatia, who I find is listening very intently to what I have to say, and largely because he's a constitutional expert, said, one nation, one flag, one constitution. In that case, sir, will you please tell me why there is special constitutional provision for Gujarat in Article 371? If Article 370 is to be read down, then the 12 states covered in Article 371 should also be read down. If Pondicherry is separated from Tamil Nadu today, should I demand that that provision be removed and that Pondicherry be merged into Tamil Nadu? This is a diverse country. There are Nagas, there are Mizoramis, there are Manipurians, there are Assamese, there are Tamils. There's even Andhras who separated from the Madras presidency. So we have to realize that it is a dynamic country. Yeah, I'll give you time after I finish. But I am talking to Mr. Bhatia, who's pointing his finger. All these changes are there, all these special provisions are there in the Indian Constitution. By removing or reading down Article 370, you have read down the emotional integration of the Kashmiris with the rest of India that we had been assiduously trying to cultivate, as we had done with the Tamil separatists all the way from the 1920s up till 1962. Now this, I think the Tamil Nadu example is the one that needs to be followed in Jammu Kashmir. I think above all, the people of Jammu who are triumphant that Article 370 has been read down should be among the first to reach out to their brothers across the Banihal Pass in Kashmir. Is there any indication in today's discussion that the Hindus of Jammu are as open to integration with the Muslims of Kashmir as the Muslims of Kashmir on this program have shown themselves to be open to integration with Jammu Hindus? And if we look upon the people of Jammu Kashmir as Hindus and Muslims and not as members of the former Riyasat, then I think we are doing great disservice to both parts of the state, let alone Ladakh, which is today, according to Amit Shah's cartography, the hugest UT in all of India. It's got more territory because it includes the whole of Aksai Chin. It includes Gilgit and Baltistan, and also Azad Kashmir, as they call it. This is Ladakh today. Now, if you live in such a fantastical world, it is not possible to understand that diversity is the basis of our unity. Remove diversity and you'll end unity. You cannot achieve unity through uniformity in India as they attempted to do with disastrous results in Pakistan. We cannot continue as Indians if we insist in Jinnah's way on distinguishing Hindus from Muslims. So my plea at the end of listening to a lot of interesting points in today's discussion, and I'm glad O.P. Shah has brought in the Jammu voice, because hitherto we've really been listening only to the Kashmir voice. And although the Jammu voice has disappointed me today, I'm hoping that if we can somehow come to an agreement on the basis on which we should move forward, which surely has to be a reconciliation between the triumphalism on Article 370 of people from Jammu, people of influence from Jammu, and the utter disappointment and despair among the people of Kashmir. How does one bridge that difference? That is the key to reconciliation. Otherwise, I'm afraid the Jammu desire to get their own back by dominating over Kashmir after delimitation is going to be very dangerous for the future of our country. Jammu and Kashmir either have to live together or threaten the unity and integrity of India. And I hope the attitude of people in Jammu will be less revanchist than we have heard and more on the lines of every single Kashmiri Muslim we have heard today who says that it is the right of the Kashmiri Pandit to come back and live in our valley to the extent that the Kashmiri Pandit wants to do. I'm not at all sure that the Kashmiri Pandit tomorrow will take any greater advantage of the current downgrading of Jammu Kashmir into a union territory than they have shown themselves to be in the last 2 years. We did hear of 1 or 2 KPs returning there, but I have met a large number of KPs in Kashmir who remained there throughout the troubles. And none of them has been murdered. Ask Vijay Dhar. So there are complaints galore from Kashmir, from Jammu, and from every state and union territory of India about the lack of economic development and the absence of employment. But the cry is of true anguish in JK because the argument was never made on the 5th of August that you'll have to wait years and years and years for development and employment. They promised Valhalla tomorrow. And what do we see? Has the Supreme Court taken up a single case of habeas corpus relating to Kashmiris? How can 400 Kashmiris be disappeared without any constitutional or legal protection? How can you have people jailed arbitrarily? How can you have an entire state, or what used to be a state, absolved of its voice totally? We've been told that in Jammu you can't have gatherings of more than 100 persons. I don't know if it's true, but you can't have a gathering in Kashmir of even 10 persons without the police at every single corner waiting to get you. I don't think we can have a united Jammu Kashmir or a united India without Mr. Bhatia standing shoulder to shoulder with Farooq Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti and all the others in Kashmir, and they standing shoulder to shoulder with Mr. Bhatia and all the other residents and domiciles of Jammu also standing together with them. So my plea is, let's please
Mr.
look
Shah,
at
ask him
Jammu
to stop
Kashmir,
immediately.
not through
He's talking absolute nonsense.
of a Jammuite and a Kashmiri, of a
Absolute
Hindu and a
nonsense.
Christian, but as the people of India, and that in the changed circumstances, we attempt a reconciliation
He's
rather
a
than
Pakistani better. Ask him to
and for that
stop. This
reconciliation
is not the way to
take
conduct
place,
this seminar.
it is not delimitation that matters so much as removing the limitations of the heart, which
It's an
unfortunately seem to be prevailing and have been starkly presented to us by Mr. Bimal Sharma and others.
Ask him to
That
stop.
there is a divide of the heart.
Please.
And unless the two hearts come together, I don't think we'll find a lasting solution to this
Thank you.
problem. And yes, I do agree with those who pointed it out that an India-Pakistan dialogue is as important to finding a solution as is a dialogue between Delhi and Jammu, between Delhi and Srinagar, and above all, between Jammu and Srinagar.
Thank
I
you.
commend the example of Mr. Ashwini, who is fearlessly going every month, and that too for the last 3 troubled years, to Kashmir and visiting 3 or 4 districts on each of these occasions. Salam sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Friends who have, is there any friend who has not
Mr.
offered his
Shah,
comment so far?
This is not fair.
Bhatia,
This is not fair to allow
Bhatia
this
Just a
man.
minute.
He's a frustrated man. He's a frustrated man. Tell him to go and talk to Imran Khan. Don't come here
No, no.
and teach us.
Please.
He's absolutely
Virender ji,
frustrated
छोड़िए.
person. And he goes and knocks at the door of Shabir
Shah Sahab,
Shah
Shah Sahab,
and
one
Mirwais
minute.
and all those.
Shah
Tell him
Sahab,
to go
one
and
minute.
knock at their doors.
No, I don't think it's correct.
This is
Please.
not the way. This
Please.
Professor
discussion
Bhatia
was
Sahab
going
will be asked
equally
to
well
speak.
till you invited this fellow, you know. What has he got to contribute to Jammu and Kashmir? He has nothing to contribute to this discussion or to the peace in Jammu and Kashmir. He's absolutely talking nonsense and rubbish.
Thank you
We
very
should have-
much.
Yeah,
Shah
thank
Sahab,
you.
Shah Sahab, one
Can I
second.
respond to
Just a
Mr.
minute.
Krishna? This
Just a
Iyer?
minute. Yeah. Just a minute. Just a minute. Professor Bhatia. Please.
Yes, I would like to.
Professor
दोनों
Bhatia.
आपने बोलना ही जरूरी है. आपका नाम लिया गया है.
I am
Professor
going to speak.
Bhatia.
I am dismayed by the presentation of Mr. Manishankar Iyer. It is not the first occasion that he speaks like that. There were other occasions in the past when he used to speak like that. Manishankar Iyer, you should go through the text of the Constitution of India. When I said one nation, that is Indian nation, including Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh. One constitution, I meant Constitution of India. That is to say, no separate constitution as it was Jammu Kashmir Constitution. No separate temporary or transitory provision applicable in the shape of 370 and 35A to the then state of Jammu Kashmir. If 370, 35A and Jammu Kashmir Constitution were so sacrosanct, why these Kashmiri Hindus were forced to leave the valley? This is a question to Manishankar Iyer. And when I talked about, then he mentioned about 371A only Gujarat. He should be aware. It is not only the special provision for the state of Gujarat, but there are other states including Maharashtra, Goa, and so on and so forth. And there the governors of such state are empowered to bring out special financial provisions for the development of tribals and tribal areas. He should understand what constitutional language of 371 is. He should not confuse the nation with mixing 371 with 370. 370 was only temporary and transitory provision, which has made a great loss. And lastly, I would like to say he emphasized with anger, one flag, yes. When I said one flag, tricolor flag, not in the language of Gupkaris, because they are groping in the dark. When Mehbooba Mufti said, there would be no one to carry the national flag. And in an interview, on the television live interview, I challenged her and Dr. Farooqullah also, come and share the dais with me. There would be people from the valley who would carry the national flag from the valley to Kanyakumari. Let Manishankar Iyer listen it very carefully. Your representation dismayed absolutely. Don't talk like this thing. If you do not know the Constitution, please go home and read this Constitution of India and its provisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Batali Saab, you wanted to say something?
Thank you very much. I don't have any comment to make now because it is becoming a TV channel of Arnab Goswami now. Thank you.
Is there any friend? Who has something to say?
Yes.
Half a minute,
Yes.
please. Yes.
मुझे बोलने की जरूरत तो थी नहीं, क्योंकि मेरा नाम 3 पैनलिस्ट ने लिया. मणिशंकर अय्यर ने मेरा नाम लिया, भाटिया साहब ने लिया, और यहाँ मेरा नाम लिया, इसलिए मुझे बोलने की जरूरत है. पहली बार जीवन में मुझे लगता है अय्यर सुन रहे होंगे, मैं उनसे दो बातों में सहमत हूं। पहली बात में इस बारे में सहमत हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों ने आपस में मेल मिलाप करके जम्मू कश्मीर को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, मैं उसमें उनके साथ हूं। और मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है जो उन्होंने ये कही है ये बहुत अच्छा है। और भाटिया साहब भी पहले ही अपने उद्घाटन भाषण में ये बात कही कि जम्मू कश्मीर स्टेट जो है वो एक है और आगे भी यूथ के नाते आगामी चलेंगे। दूसरी बात जो उन्होंने कही मणिशंकर जी ने मेरे बारे में, वो कही कि मैं कश्मीर आता हूं फिर जिंदा हूं। अब मुझे ये नहीं पता कि उनको मेरे जिंदा रहने का कष्ट है कि खुशी है, ये मुझे नहीं पता। लेकिन मैं उनको बताऊं मैं जिंदा कैसे हूं। मैं जिंदा इसलिए हूं क्योंकि मैं कश्मीर जाता हूं और एयरपोर्ट से लेकर के वापस एयरपोर्ट तक मेरे आगे पीछे 9 सिपाही बंदूक लेकर होते हैं और उन 9 सिपाहियों की गिरफ्त में मैं सारा कश्मीर घूमता हूं। लेकिन एक बात पक्की है, मैं कश्मीर में अपने साहस, अपनी कर्तव्य की भावना और कश्मीर के साथ जो प्रेम है उसके कारण हो सकता है इसमें मेरी जान जाए। वो बात नहीं है कि भावनाओं में कश्मीर के साथ में फिजिकल रिलेशनशिप कायम रखनी है। और मुझे बात की खुशी हुई है, पर्टिकुलरली आज मुझे खुशी हुई है और मैं को दिखाना चाहता हूँ इस बात पर कि कश्मीर जितने मेरे यहाँ पर बोले हैं उन सबने कश्मीरी बाकी है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। एन आया हम कश्मीर में बस के और नमस्कार।
Namaskar. Thank you very much. Friends, we had a very lively and thought-provoking discussion. I presume everyone has offered his comments in the manner he wants to offer.
शाह साहब दो एक आधा मिनट मिल सकता है?
अच्छा चलिए
जी शाह साहब, मैं वहाँ डिस्कशन मैं उनमें नहीं जाना चाहता। मैं ये कहता हूँ मेरे दोस्त कुछ इसलिए कोरोना की महामारी आई थी तो प्रवासी क्यों बन गए राष्ट्रवादी?
हेलो,
मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि एक मिनट
हाँ बोलिए।
मैं कह रहा हूं कि मेरे दोस्तों और साथियों ने कुछ कहा कि एक राष्ट्र, एक संविधान, एक फ्लैग ही पहचान होती है किसी की। मैं समझता हूं कि डाइवर्सिटी जो है आइडेंटिटी की ये एक सच्चाई है। अगर डाइवर्सिटी ना होती, अगर राष्ट्र ही एक है तो पिछले साल महाराष्ट्र से या हिंदुस्तान के कोने कोने से तमाम राष्ट्रवादी प्रवासी क्यों हो गए? वो प्रवासी क्यों हो गए? वो राष्ट्रवादी क्यों नहीं रहे? वो उस रियासत के राष्ट्र स्थायी निवासी बन चुके थे, 20-20 साल काम कर रहे थे, लेकिन सबने डंडा लेकर भगा दिया बाहर के, चलो आप जहां के रहने वाले ही नहीं हो। इसलिए आइडेंटिटी जो है ये ट्रुथ ऑफ दी नेचर है।
अच्छा,
थैंक यू, शुक्रिया। I think may I now say thank you very much for participating in this discussion organized by Center for Peace and Progress.
उनसे इसका अंत करिए। सलीम इंजीनियर रायपुर से हैं।
ओ हाँ, मैं उनके पास ही आ रहा था। सलीम इंजीनियर साहब, आप कमेंट्स ऑफर करें। सलीम इंजीनियर साहब।
नहीं, दरअसल शुक्रिया शाह साहब, मैं तो सिर्फ जानना चाहता था जो टॉपिक आपने रखा तो वहीं के लोग ज़्यादा अच्छी तरह बता सकते हैं कि वहाँ 5 अगस्त के बाद क्या बेहतरी आई है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि हम किसी मसले का हल उस वक्त तक नहीं ढूंढ सकते जब तक के निष्पक्ष होकर हम न्याय के आधार पर बात न करें। और एक बात जो मैंने सुनी है आप लोगों से, वो ये कि इस मसले में तमाम लोगों को जब तक कॉन्फिडेंस में आप नहीं लेंगे और तमाम लोगों का विश्वास आप नहीं जीतेंगे, तब तक सिर्फ ये कानून बना लेने से या कानून हटा देने से इससे पॉलिटिकल फायदा तो हो सकता है, लेकिन मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई फायदा वहाँ की आवाम को उससे हुआ है। और मुझे ये भी नहीं लगता कि ऐसी क्या परेशानी 370 के हटाए जाने से पहले थी कि जब वहाँ हमारे कश्मीरी पंडित भाइयों को नहीं लाया जा सका, और अब क्या परेशानी है उनको लाए जाने में। ये बात मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ कि आखिर क्या रुकावट पहले थी और अब क्या रुकावट हट गई है, और वो हटने के बाद भी हमारे कश्मीरी पंडित भाइयों को क्यों नहीं लाया जा रहा है जबकि सब चाहते हैं। तो मुझे कहीं ना कहीं ये लगता है कि इसमें जब तक हम निष्पक्ष होकर और ईमानदारी के साथ और इंसाफ के साथ जब तक हम इस मसले का हल नहीं तलाश करेंगे, तब तक वहाँ सही शांति और सही जो प्रोग्रेस और डेवलपमेंट है वो नहीं हो सकता है। जिस तरह का डिस्कशन मैंने आज देखा है, मुझे उससे बहुत तकलीफ हुई कि ओपी शाह साहब आमतौर पे बहुत अच्छा डिस्कशन अरेंज करते हैं, लेकिन आज हमारे इस डिस्कशन में कुछ ऐसी भाषा का प्रयोग किया गया है, मुझे लगता है कि वो हमारे लिए अच्छी नहीं है। मुझे उम्मीद है आगे हम इसका ख्याल रखेंगे। थैंक यू सर।
शाह साहब, मुझे एक लाइन कहनी थी। शाह साहब,
I'll just make one quick comment, शाह साहब, if you allow me.
जरूर
जी शाह साहब, एज यहाँ सेकुलरिज्म की बात हुई और जम्मू और कश्मीर में बात हुई रिलेशंस में, बटाली साहब गवाह हैं, केएल भाटिया साहब गवाह हैं, चिरंगू साहब गवाह हैं। I'll quote my late father, late Shri Ram Sahai, who in his lifetime always, दोनों साइड से हमारे ट्रेडर्स यहाँ पे जम्मू से और कश्मीर से मिलके काम करते रहे, इवन आज भी। तो ये कहना कि हमारे रीजनल डिवाइड बहुत बढ़ गए हैं, ऑल्दो आई एग्री ऑन वन पॉइंट कि जम्मू को जो शेयर कम मिला उस वजह से ये सब चीजें हमें कहीं देखनी पड़ सकती हैं, बट मैं ये नहीं मानता कि हमारी सेकुलरिज्म में, हमारे रिलेशंस में कहीं कोई कमी है। मुझे आज भी वो टाइम याद है, वक्त याद है, बटाली साहब के घर हमने जाना या उन्होंने यहाँ आना और कैसे हमने रहना। सो ये चीजें फॉर टाइमिंग हो सकती हैं, बट फॉर ऑन अ लॉन्गर रन हमारे में इतनी बिटरनेस भी नहीं है कि हम आगे ना चल पाए। सो आई विल कंक्लूड ऑन दिस के टाइम बिंग पॉलिटिक्स ने ये कुछ ऐसा जरूर किया होगा, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि हम आगे नहीं चल सकते हैं या रीजनल डिवाइड बहुत ज्यादा है। So I'll conclude on that. Yeah.
Shah Sahab, if I may just add something.
शाह साहब,
मुजफ्फर रिजवी साहब कुछ बोलेंगे।
जी जी जी
मुजफ्फर रिजवी,
जी 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 जी
अच्छा बोलिए। मुजफ्फर रिजवी, हाँ
जी
रिजवी साहब,
जी 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 जी
हाँ आप 1 मिनट जरूर बोलें।
जी जी बस 2 मिनट में।
हाँ,
मैंने जो आज का डिस्कशन जो हुआ, ये इंजीनियर साहब ने अभी जो फरमाया कि डिस्कशन आपका जो होता था वो स्पेसिफिक होता था, हुआ करता था, लेकिन आज मैं भी दुखी हुआ ये लोगों के और लोगों के, चाहे मनीशंकर अय्यर ने कुछ बोला या दूसरे लोगों ने उस पर आपत्ति जगाई या किसी ने कुछ कहा, किसी ने कुछ कहा, लेकिन एज अ होल जो हमारी असली समस्या है उस पर कोई फोकस नहीं करता है। हमें क्या मिला ये जाने बगैर कश्मीरियों को क्या हासिल हुआ आफ्टर एब्रोगेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 370, वो हमें डिस्कस करना चाहिए था। कुछ नहीं मिला, उसका नतीजा कुछ नहीं अब तक हासिल है, ला हासिल एक कोशिश की गई है, लेकिन उससे पहले क्या था और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, कुछ नहीं है, कुछ नहीं बदला है, हम वही के वही खड़े हैं। इसलिए तमाम पार्टिसिपेशन से मैं आग्रह करता हूँ, मैं एक दर्दमंदाना अपील करता हूँ, काइंडली लुक द masses of the दिस वैली, और जम्मू को भी क्या मिला है? कुछ नहीं, वही का वही जो प्रॉब्लम है वो
मिलना
वही
क्या
का
था
वही।
वैसे?
मिलना क्या था?
पीस। अश्विनी जी उनको बोलने दीजिए।
बिल्कुल, पीस, हमें अमन चाहिए, पीस चाहिए। कहाँ है पीस? हमें कोई पीस नहीं है, कोई शांति नहीं है, बात करने की कोई इजाजत नहीं है, कहीं पर न बोल सकते हैं, कहीं पर न कोई सुनने के लिए तैयार है। किसको बताए हमारी पीड़ा है, हम किस दुख से, दर्द से यहाँ पर जिंदगी काट रहे हैं। महंगाई उरूज पर है, हमारे लिए रसायन के कोई निजाम नहीं है, हम पर कोई डेवलपमेंट के नाम पे सब कुछ एक कार्ड खेला गया। कहाँ है डेवलपमेंट? वेयर इज डेवलपमेंट? यहाँ के रोड्स देखिए, वैरान पड़े हैं, चलने फिरने के काबिल नहीं है। यहाँ पर कोई सुविधा, मैं ये बोलूं, सुविधा है ही नहीं, हमें कुछ भी नहीं मिलता है। हमें बिजली, इन 70 सालों से बिजली नहीं मिली है। हमें रोड कनेक्टिव है जम्मू और श्रीनगर के दरमियान, 6-6, 7-7 दिन बंद पड़ती है। यहाँ पे ये सब्जी नहीं मिलती है, यहाँ पे मटन को लेकर क्राइसिस है। इस माहश्याम के दौर में हमें बिजली तो मुतवातिर मिलती थी, लेकिन इस साल आफ्टर एब्रोगेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 370 आज बिजली की कटौती ऐसी है, ना सहरी के टाइम में बिजली होती है, ना इफ्तार के टाइम में बिजली होती है। कहाँ लेकर गए हैं? दिस इज अनफॉर्चुनेट दैट people are thinking politics, about the politics. No one thinks about the people. लोगों के मुतल्लिक किसी ने कोई कुछ नहीं सोचा है। लोग अमन शांति से रहे, कहाँ है अमन? हर किसी के दिल में खौफ है, डर है, वो तो गया नहीं, भी है, तरस रहे हैं कहीं जाने के लिए, कुछ काम करने के लिए ना कुछ काम है, बेरोजगारी इतनी उरूज पर है, आप पूछे मत। यहाँ पर बस लास्ट में यही कमेंट करना, मैं आप सभी लोगों से ये गुजारिश करता हूं, मेरी अपील है, प्लीज एंड प्लीज लोगों के मतलब, यहाँ के निवासियों के मतलब सोचिए, ये कहाँ कैसे जिंदगी गुजारते हैं, उस पर फोकस कीजिए। उस पर अगर डिस्कशन करेंगे, ये शांति कब लौटेगी, उस पर अगर आप ध्यान दीजिए। ये पॉलिटिक्स को एक तरफ छोड़कर पॉइंट स्कोर करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है किसी को, लेकिन लोगों की समस्या का समाधान निकालने के लिए यहाँ पर जब तक शांति नहीं लाई जाएगी, तब तक ये सब कुछ एक सुराब है, एक ख्वाब है, जो तब तक पूरा नहीं होगा जब तक न यहाँ पे रियल मानों में एक शांति का एक माहौल कायम होगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच शाह साहब।
थैंक यू वेरी मच रिजवी साहब। डायलॉग इज a sense of democracy.
मैंने एक बात करनी थी।
अच्छा, आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं, बोलिए।
मैं अश्विनी जी को तायीद कर रहा हूँ कि इन्होंने आज पहली बार ये कहा है, कश्मीर तो ये जाते रहते हैं हर महीने वगैरह, मगर ये 19 लोगों के साथ जाते हैं, 19 पुलिस वालों के साथ, which means that Article 370 abrogation has not been able to contain militancy in Kashmir.
नहीं,
और अभी तक कश्मीरी पंडित इसलिए वापस नहीं जा रहे हैं कि they are not feeling themselves safe, जबकि चिरंगू साहब को वहां पुलिस गार्ड लेके जाना पड़ेगा, तो कश्मीरी पंडित बेचारा वहां नहीं जा पाएगा जब तक कि वहां पर टेररिज्म खत्म नहीं होगा। और वो कैसे होगा? आर्टिकल 370 हटाने से वो खत्म नहीं हुआ। That is what I wanted to say.
I just want to add on just one line, 130 seconds. Shah Sahab, 30 seconds.
Let us conclude.
Shah Sahab, 30 seconds. Shah Sahab, 30 seconds. I just want to say, Watali Sahab, my name is Satish. हमारे बड़े भाई साहब बेशक नाव बंदूकदारी लेके चलते हैं, मुझे गर्व है, फक्र है अपने कश्मीरी भाइयों के ऊपर। मैं बच्चों के साथ जाता हूं, परिवार के साथ जाता हूं, डाउनटाउन जाता हूं, त्राल जाता हूं, कोई सिक्योरिटी लेके नहीं जाता हूं, और बड़ी बड़ी सभाएं में बैठता हूं और वो मेरे को सहारा देते हैं, खाना देते हैं, और कोई सिक्योरिटी की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है। मेरे को फक्र है उनके। हाँ, मेरे को इस बात का दुख है, चाहे वो सेक्सुअल वायलेंस थी, चाहे मेरी बहनों के साथ, मेरी माओं के साथ, सारे कश्मीरियों के साथ जो इनजस्टिस हुआ है, आज तक किसी भी लीडर ने, किसी भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ने उसके लिए कोई भी कठोर कदम नहीं उठाया है। आज आत्मनिर्भर की बात कर रहे हैं, 23 स्टेट PSUs है, 23 PSUs आर देयर, रोजगार से हाथ धो बैठे हैं, नौकरियां नहीं है, but nobody is talking about that. Everybody is talking about glorifying their politics. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Quickly, 2 points, sir. One, I
Vivek ji,
think
next meeting के लिए,
अब
next
तो
meeting,
conclude
very,
करिए
very
साहब।
briefly.
next meeting के लिए, next
I
meeting के लिए।
think that, sorry?
आप next meeting करेंगे तब बोलिएगा। Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
नमस्कार नमस्कार सबको।
Dialogue is a sense of democracy, and difference of opinion is very normal in any discussions. It's not the first time that we have seen the difference of opinion in our meetings. It has been always there, because we are not a group of one committed party workers. We are a group representing various facets of life, holding different point of view. All what probably has happened today, which did not happen earlier, is that couple of us got provoked and said things which we should have avoided in saying. I hope this not happen. Differences of opinion will be there, are there, and will remain there. That is why we are meeting. Otherwise, there was no purpose of meeting. We know that on some issues we have difference of opinion. The purpose of a meeting of this kind is to find out how can we agree, find out the ways in which the agreement can take place. So I thank you very much for participating. Center for Peace and Progress, as usual, will continue to organize dialogues and discussions in which meaningful discussion could take place. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in the next meeting of Center for Peace and Progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to add that we can disagree, but we should not be disagreeable. That is the point that I was trying to make. And I think some of us erred in that respect. That we can disagree on specific points, but we should not make it personalized.